We are here live at the Undergraduate Research Conference here at USF. My name is Lucy and I'll be your host along with my friend
Jasmine. Welcome back, Cerebrals. It's great to have you again as we're here at the one and only Undergraduate Research Conference taking place on the St. Pete campus. So for this event today, we are in the USC ballrooms until 1 p.m. And for those of you on campus, as we're featuring all this exclusive coverage on our student researchers, faculty, and viewers just like you, we heavily encourage that you stop by and check out what we're up to today. And to kick off our conference today, we'll be having some conversations with some really cool student researchers, including the first step up in our lineup, Kira Blakey.
Yes, we're here with Kira Blakey, a senior marine biology major, to talk about her project, Sharks on the Move. Welcome, Kira.
Hi, thank you for having me.
So, can you give us a brief overview of your research topic?
Yeah, so my research topic was a part of my honors college thesis for the Judy N. Shaft Honors College. I chose to do it on shark migration patterns and specifically how they're changing in relation to climate change. Contrary to popular belief, there's less sharks in the ocean today than there was 100 years ago, but we seem to hear about shark bites and negative interactions just a lot more than we would have historically. So I wanted to investigate the reason as to why that was occurring, and I was able to do that through using telemetry, which is just tagging and research data from different universities from Florida primarily, but also across the globe, and comparing it to climate data.
Excellent, that is really cool. And so tell me, why do sharks, migrate on a regular basis, and what are some normal behaviors that have been observed in the past?
Yeah, so sharks migrate for a few different reasons, a lot like land animals migrate. They're migrating for food, they're migrating for breeding season. They recently, we think, are migrating to follow temperature shifts. There are certain sharks that can't tolerate certain temperatures. They each have their own ecological niche. So that's a big portion of why they're migrating. Those normal behaviors that we see are either yearly or bi-yearly migrations, just depending on the type of animal that you're looking at. And that contributes, like I said, to that feeding and breeding reason. They're both very complex and also pretty simple. The things they do, it makes sense why they're doing it. Yeah.
Very cool. So you kind of briefly touched on it, but what sort of environmental factors influence change in shark behavior, including the migration patterns?
Yeah, so a big portion of it right now we think is climate change, specifically global warming. I've heard this project specifically looked at sea surface temperatures, or SST. Those are a general baseline. I believe it's typically within the first 50 to 100 feet of water that they're looking at sea surface temperatures. Since the majority of sharks that we think of, when you're thinking of a shark, you're thinking about a great white, they're living within that epipelagic zone, there's still a lot of sunlight, they're experiencing those temperature changes more than your benthic or bottom dwelling animals that are living in deeper water. There can also be other things that impact their migration as well. Lack of food is a big one, so fisheries can also impact migration. If there's a fishery that's been heavily overfished, and that's also feeding ground for sharks, if they get there one year and there's no food, you're gonna have to go and find something else, right? So there are anthropogenic factors that affect shark migrations. Right now, the two that are really coming to my mind are just the global warming and then the fisheries overfishing.
Awesome. So, given the usual media craze around sharks, what would you say are some stereotypes or misconceptions, and how do these misconceptions kind of affect the human and shark relationships out there?
Yeah, so I think about growing up watching sharks on TV. You watch things like Shark Week. Shark Week in recent years has become good for education, but in years past it's kind of twisted some data around. Even if it's real scientists saying the words, that data can still be skewed very easily in media perception. If we grew up watching Jaws more recently, the Meg movies, that's a really good way to scare children into never going in the ocean, really, because they don't understand that it's fiction, that sharks aren't actually going to attack you. I've also heard a lot that sharks just bite people just because. Not really true. Sharks have very poor eyesight for the most part. That leads to them not being able to make out shapes underwater. So if you're sitting on a surfboard, you kind of look like a turtle sometimes. As long as you know how to keep yourself safe, you will be okay though. Another portion of that though is that almost a lack of knowledge when it comes to how to protect yourself from shark bites. As I mentioned, poor eyesight, but a lot of sharks like to hang out in murky water because they can sneak up on prey really easily. If you're swimming in murky water, they can't tell if it's a human, which they really don't want to eat. We don't taste good to them. We have too much iron in our blood compared to a fish that they'd much rather eat. Or they really, like I said, they can't tell if it's a fish, they can't tell if it's a person. A lot of people also love to go swimming in the middle of the morning. They like that good morning sunrise dunk. Sharks are most active in the early morning and in the late evening. So almost a lack of knowledge is a really big thing for misconceptions. Thankfully, as time goes on, I think those misconceptions are being cleared up. A lot of people are seeming to understand that sharks are not just out to bite them. I work in environmental education back in my hometown, and one of our programs that I do is all about sharks and stingrays. And the amount of children that I talk to who are really young and are like, I want to be like you, I want to study sharks, and their parents are kind of like, no. You kind of see that over the generations, children are learning, and if we can continue that children are learning, then hopefully those misconceptions will be cleared up and no longer exist.
Very interesting. So if we do see a shark nearby and they're in a more unexpected area, what can we safely assume and what should we question?
Just slowly move away from them if you're nervous. If you start to freak out and panic, they're also going to freak out. Lots of your movements, lots of splashing, that kind of sounds like a fish to them. That sounds like an animal in distress. That sounds like food, right? Most sharks are going to leave you alone for the most part. They don't really want anything to do with you. They would rather just leave you alone, move on with their life than have anything to do with you. They'd rather just move on, go on their own way. I can say observe them from a distance. They are really cool and unique animals, but if they're getting a little too close for comfort, you can just safely step out the water, they'll move out on their own way.
Absolutely, good to know. And with that in mind, what important shark information and guidelines should the general public be aware of and informed of?
Yeah, so some of my favorites are make sure you're swimming in the middle of the day, sun high in the sky. You want to make sure that you're avoiding those early hours in the morning, late hours of the evening, just because that's when they're most active, that's when they are hunting. They're what we call crepuscular animals. Going swimming with a really big group of people, going with your friends, family, even your pets to the beach is also a really good way to deter them. Sharks are, believe it or not, pretty shy. If you ever do watch Shark Week, you can see that there's a timidness to them. Even when a diver has food, they're like, I don't really know about you. You look a little strange. They are going to leave you alone. So lots of loud noises in the water is a good way for them to just avoid an area entirely. Like I said, avoiding swimming in murky water. And just really giving them their space and respect. If you see one in the water, if you want to stay and watch it, that's okay, but don't encroach on its space like any animal. Like you don't want to go up and get too close to a dog who doesn't know you or push a cat's boundaries. You want to make sure that they know they have their own space, you have your own space, we leave each other alone.
That's really good information to know. Finally, since this is your senior year, what are your post-grad plans and how will this research kind of contribute to your future career endeavors?
I do want to continue working with sharks, specifically looking at migration patterns in relationship to climate change, but I also want to further understand how this maybe changes ecological niches, how we can use this information to impact fisheries management, stuff like that. I hope to go to grad school. My plan right now is take a gap year, get a lot of research experience, and then apply to grad school starting like this time next year and continue moving into that shark research.
Wow, that's really great to hear. Well, thank you for chatting with us. We hope you enjoy the rest of your time here at the conference.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, we'll be speaking with Chaz, who will be talking about his previous experience here at the Undergraduate Research Conference. Thank you so much.
Of course, thank you guys.
Way to go.
Thank you.
Best of luck with the conference.
Thank you so much. Have a good one.
Yes, you too. Okay. Do you want me to step out for the interview with Chaz? I don't.
On this side, because I'll be turned that way.
Yeah, you can if you want.
Here, so.
Okay.
All you.
Oh, are you okay?
Is it mic?
Who cares about the mic?
I don't know, Ryan. It's okay. Hashtag not my monkey, not my children.
Not my monkey, not my...
How did the first one go?
It went pretty good. Gotta say, it was pretty smooth.
Nice.
We're gonna drop this for now. And we're going to...
It's a conversation. Don't think of it. Yeah.
Thank God. Hello and welcome back. We're here with Chazway Nye, who was our last live media production executive producer, and he's sitting here with us today because he just missed us so much and he missed this conference, and we wanted to have a little chat with him to kind of gauge and get some insight on his experience. Welcome back, Chaz.
Hello, how are you doing today?
Doing good. About you?
Pretty good.
How was your drive here?
Traffic.
Traffic indeed.
Traffic.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I am so happy to have you here and to talk with you and get some insight about what you had going on when you were executive producer. So tell me, how was that experience?
How was the experience as a whole? Amazing. It was one of those rare classes where it's hands-on and student-led. It feels like a club and the professor is the sponsor. And Chris makes sure that the class feels that way. With my experience, my class worked together and we created something that we're all proud of, and I mean that's all that matters at the end of the day.
Absolutely. And given that, what would you say was the most exciting aspect about the conference?
When it ended, no. The most exciting aspect of the class was figuring out what to do each time. We did bi-weekly live streams. Every interview was during the live stream, so it was always figuring out who are we going to talk to, what are we going to do, what skits are we going to do. Ours was called Game Theories, and we wanted to always incorporate like a tea section where they talk about like the tea of the week. So one week they had like Lady Earl Grey tea, another they had a chai, and then for our last one, someone messed up and accidentally got a lemonade spritz. But it was still cool to figure things out and to be able to do that as a group.
Absolutely. That is really cool to hear. And given that, I know you guys probably went across and faced your own challenges together. What were some of those challenges and how did you overcome them?
PTSD flashbacks. Okay, so there were multiple challenges. Of course, I think that's going to happen with every class. But for us, I forgot if it was the first or the second live stream, but we got everything ready. We had the interviews set up. They were already there. We had the set done. Started the live stream. And Leon, our floor director, he was like, quiet on set. Make sure your phones are turned off and everything. And everyone made sure of that. I had my phone in the other room, so it didn't even, like, if it was on, it wouldn't even affect it. And we started the live stream. Everything was going smoothly. Then the phone goes off. And it's not like just, a message update. It is a full-on phone call. And everyone starts looking around. Who did it? Whose phone? And we turn, we see Chris's face drop.
Oh man.
It was Chris's phone. The professor's phone rang
The
in the
ultimate
middle of the live stream. So after that, of course, every time we said silence your phones, we always turned to Chris, and yeah, he felt really bad about it. But luckily, it was not shown in the live stream. But it was one of those times where we had to just continue and move on. Another struggle we had was the day of the conference, and I thought I prepared. I had 3 different rundowns just in case if a camera didn't work, if audio didn't work, if we weren't able to go into a separate room to like record those oral presentations. None of those rundowns were used. We had to on the spot figure out who are we interviewing, what are we going to do during each segment. So when we went to like ad break, we just figured out, okay, next segment is going to be an interview, just then the hosts, and then just maybe a skit. And we called it a day.
Awesome. And I know that crew ended up being quite tight-knit, and at the end of the day, things just turned out to be a great success. So, given that, what would you say was the most memorable part of that experience?
Working together. It was just, as much as everyone hates group projects, because there's always going to be a slacker, there's always going to be someone that says they're doing work and they're not, but it's always when you work together well with other people and then are able to see how their talents and skills match up to helping with other things. It was amazing. I mean, as much as I was executive producer, I didn't necessarily have that much experience with social media. So to see like the creative director do a social media campaign, it was just cool to see, to be able to see the skills that maybe you're not good enough with, but someone else is executed well. Then it's just inspiring and it pushes people forward.
That is awesome to hear, and I think we've kind of been experiencing that with our own crew too. It's just great to see everyone's skills. So, given that, and now that we have this conference coming up, what do you recall from last conference were some interesting topics to you?
Ooh, that's a good question. I remember specifically 3. I don't know. I have no clue, and I forgot them. I was busy with the live stream that while I did talk to other people to be like, hey, you're on camera now, let's go. I'm going to interview you. We're going to interview you and it's going to be great. I don't remember specifically all the topics, but I do remember one we did interview. It was about queer representation in comic books. And we interviewed them before the day of the conference, and then the day of the conference they won an award for it. And for us, it was just so cool to see the recognition of people we even interviewed. I mean, everyone's research is valuable, everyone's research is needed, but it was still so cool to see someone's research we personally talked to get recognized.
Absolutely. That is a really snazzy topic to hear about. And, you know, going forward, what do you look forward to most when it comes to all this?
When I finish my research project.
Research project? What type of research are you doing?
I am doing active field research actually right now. I'm talking to people about something so specific. I thought I told you.
No, you didn't.
I did.
Tell?
I did.
No, you didn't.
I sent an email.
He didn't, viewers. But please feel free to elaborate.
So I'm actually investigating how different color folders, and what subjects you assign them in elementary school. It's so simple, and the psychology behind that. Do I have any clue about psychology? No, I failed in science, but I do know color folders, and I'm typically right about it.
Are you?
Are
you? Let's see about that. Hit me with it.
So, well, let's see. Let me just start asking you, what colors did you assign to what subjects?
Okay. Do you want to ask me?
Let's start with science.
Green. I gotta go with green.
Math.
Red.
English.
Blue or black?
Now, according to my extensive research on 100 non-existent people, you're wrong.
Excuse me?
Exactly. You are incorrect about that.
Great. Okay, see.
Math is actually blue. Math is blue, science is yellow, English is green, history is red.
Do you not listen to a word he said? His mind is fried from last year's undergraduate research conference.
I said 200 non-existent people told me this information, so you can rely on my information.
Absolutely, we can. Are you going to give a whole poster presentation about this?
I have 93% of statistics done for it. 99% of statistics are fake, but the 1% I'm telling you guys is true.
Okay.
Yes,
well,
I promise.
Good to know.
Exactly.
I guess we'll have to take a look for it.
Math is historically blue.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
Well, you know what?
English is green.
I'm not going to even listen a word further.
Okay.
You know what, folks? I think that wraps it up for our conversation with Mr. Chaz Wayne Nye. He'll be here with us for the rest of the conference, scoping out all the different new topics coming our way. Thank you so much for tuning in, and stay tuned for our next segment.
Okay, we're gonna test your manatee knowledge.
Okay.
How much on average do you think a manatee weighs?
300 pounds.
1,500 pounds.
I think they're
Manatees have teeth?
I want to say no.
I'm gonna say no.
No, I don't think so.
Yes.
No, they have like a hard like palate that they use to like eat and like crush stuff up.
I think you might be right, and you might know more than me about manatees. I said yes, because they have to crunch up all the seaweed in the grass. We'll take your word for it. What sound does a manatee make?
You got it, Sarah.
Your best impression. I'd prefer if you did the noise.
Oh man, I don't know.
It's underwater.
Is it like a moo?
Like a hum.
A hum? Oh, a
gentle
little hum. Please demonstrate.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, okay, that.
I actually don't know.
You don't
I
know?
don't know.
So I want you to do your best impersonation of what you think a manatee sounds like. I'll do it too. Don't worry.
I'm just trying to think. There's like so many ways I could go. I think they would be slow talkers. I think they'd just be like this. They would sound like this.
Is it like a is it a whistle?
kind of.
It's kind of like a whistle.
They squeak.
Yeah.
Kind of like dolphins. It's pretty cute.
That is cute.
Can they talk to each other? Do you know that?
I don't know this for sure, but I'm gonna say yeah. They talk to each other all the time.
I think in my head they talk to each other.
A
Yeah.
little conversation. Who swims faster, Michael Phelps in his prime, or a manatee?
I don't know.
I don't know if manatees can they swim that fast?
I don't know.
I think a manatee. They got that big tail.
The big paddle.
Yeah, the paddle.
What do you think, Nina?
I'll go manatee.
I don't think they can. I think Michael Phelps.
So Michael Phelps, his fastest recorded speed was 6 miles per hour. A manatee can go 20 miles per hour.
There's no
in
way.
short bursts.
Oh, in
So
short bursts.
she's not a long
Okay.
distance runner.
Okay,
She's a
okay.
sprinter through the water.
Well, yeah, they do. They got that big paddle tail. Mm-hmm.
Okay, final question. How long do manatees sleep for? What's their sleep schedule like?
I don't know. I kind of feel like they're like cats. Like I feel like they sleep a lot.
Sleep a lot. They're also like eating all the time.
They're eating all the time. Maybe they eat and then sleep.
I'm gonna say they sleep like over half the day.
I'd say, just going off of normally what aquatic marine mammals tend, probably 5 hours.
A majority, like 18.
About 18? Okay.
Or do they not
So-
sleep at all? Am I completely off?
They take multiple 20-minute naps per day.
Okay.
Like, all the time. And then they come up for air.
That's so me.
And then they go take another nap.
Yeah.
So they take a bunch of little naps. They're like cats.
Okay.
I would take that as a correct answer.
cool.
Was that our final manatee question?
That was our final manatee.
I learned so much today. What if one like came up?
Can you imagine if a manatee popped
Yeah.
up? Just like,
It was just
feel like you know more about manatees now.
Definitely with the weight. I did not.
Oh, yeah.
I could not estimate the weight, but
Big old
they are
manatee.
big and chunky.
You guys are the
Pretty solid.
the manatee experts of USF St. Pete.
Wow.
Congratulations. You got the most questions right.
No way.
You wish you were us.
I
Heck
bet
yeah.
they do. Nice job, you guys.
Wait.
Go Bulls.
Go Bulls.
I don't see any manatees today, but there might be some at the research conference. Back to you guys in the studio.
And I'll just say back. We are back here at the Undergraduate Research Conference at USF St. Petersburg.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Lucy. So our next segment will be on Sadie, who's covering some oral presentations for us as we learn more about the conference.
Here at the research conference,
We're wondering, I didn't want to
We didn't. Okay. Thank gosh.
yeah, can you see me or hear me? Can you hear me or see me? Can you see me and can you hear me or see me? It's live. Okay. Yes, it is.
It just goes back to camera, I think, whenever it's the tradition. Okay. Can you give me a really quick? Do you think it should be up or down?
There's no way.
Oh, that is so loud. I actually get down.
Okay, so basically we're going to cut to you guys again. We're going to be like, sorry about the technical difficulty. Now to Sadie's segment about the oral presentations at the undergraduate.
But I had a really big paper due, and that was a little more than watching.
Yeah.
Sorry about those technical difficulties, Siri fam.
Thank you so much for your patience. Stay tuned for this next segment where
Really wish.
Welcome back, everyone. Joining us today as another speaker at this conference is marine bio major Taylor McLeod, who's here to talk about policies on manatee populations and protecting those populations. Welcome.
Welcome to the show, Taylor. How's your experience been at the conference so far?
It's so fun. Everyone is so supportive, and I get to yap about manatees all day long. It's incredible.
Absolutely. I love that for you. And given that, what do you feel a big opportunity like this to present orally to a bunch of, constituents, what do you feel that means to you?
It's super important to me as an undergraduate student, being able to get this type of hands-on experience. That was a big part of, everything that I've wanted to do since I've been here at this university. So thank you, USF, for that one.
Absolutely. So can you give us a brief overview of your research topic?
Yeah, so my research focuses on integrating the genetic background of the Florida manatee into conservation policy for the state of Florida. So taking that conservation policy as well as taking the political and economic angle of why it's important to influence this policy to the state of Florida.
Awesome. That is a really interesting topic.
Thank you.
What led you to choose it?
Yeah, so I was very big on doing something scientific with manatees. I've always loved them. And my mentor, who was Professor Sam Henderson for the Honors College, who used to be the mayor of Gulfport for about 12 years, he influenced me to take a policy route with it. So I got to do all of the genetic research and everything like that, and then make those conclusions, which was something that I would not have, I think, thought of on my own. So I'm very thankful for him in being able to help me guide that route.
Absolutely. So how long did it take you to complete your thesis, and what type of research was involved?
Yeah, so my thesis, I did it as a part of my initial acquisition of knowledge class for the Honors College. So I had about a semester to complete my research. A lot of my research is meta-analysis, so it's taking a whole bunch of preset data sets, organizing it all, putting it in all of my own words, and then drawing conclusions from that data. So I will say my initial research took about 6 months, but then as I drawn on my conclusions for the policy, it's been about a year to a year and a half of working on this project. Yeah.
Wow, that is a long time. That's really cool. And given, the knowledge that you guys have, really harbored here, what positive impacts would you say that manatees and other aquatic mammals have on the environment?
Yeah, so our manatees are super important to being able to regulate some of our seagrass beds, making sure they're not overgrown. That is mainly what they eat. But just from a person perspective, they're big for ecotourism in the state of Florida. If we are a tourism state, so if you are not going to, one of the theme parks in Orlando, you are most likely coming to Florida for wildlife tourism. And a big part of that is our manatees. So being able to economically stabilize our tourism industry is very important. And I talk a lot about that in my research because being able to gear it in that light makes the policy more likely to go through for our lawmakers.
Absolutely. How has climate change affected manatees in Florida?
Yeah, so our manatees are super susceptible to what's called cold stress syndrome. So climate change has basically made very high highs and very low lows. It is not just increasing temperature, it's actually causing in the winters big decreases in water temp. So manatees have a critical point at 18 degrees Celsius where they cannot regulate their thermosensory function. They can't feel how cold it is. So they basically begin to get pretty bad hypothermia. They shut down their organ systems, and after that they do slowly begin to die. So if they don't have that warm water refuge, for example in power plants, natural springs, they do face cold stress syndrome, and it is a pretty quick process. It happens within 12 to 24 hours.
Gotcha. That is something definitely important to know. And given that, another interesting habit that we noticed is why would you say manatees gather around power plants?
Yeah, so power plants as a waste result excrete hot water, warm water. So in the winter months when they are looking for a refuge area where it is not cold water and they can just function, they gravitate towards those power plant outflows. It's almost like an artificial natural spring. So at the natural springs, you're getting warm water. Power plants are also getting warm water, so it's become a part of their seasonal migration patterns that they do end up at these power plants.
Gotcha. How important is it to pitch the economic benefit of climate activism to policymakers or economic stakeholders?
Yeah, so it's a big thing because, obviously not everyone agrees on what policy should be first. Economic policy is very, very important, but not everyone can agree that that's number one. So being able to pitch it from different perspectives, a big one from the economical perspective, everyone wants to save their money and not have to spend more. Being able to pitch it from different areas hopefully appeals to a larger body of people. So being able to get as many people in support of this policy as possible is a big deal. Hopefully it goes through policy and lawmakers a little bit quicker than if it was just save the manatees.
Absolutely. And, at the end of the day, what do you feel are some policies that should be put in place to protect the manatee population in Florida?
Yeah, so I have discussed in my research keeping the power plants that we currently have established open. Keeping those open because, one, our manatees rely again on those warm water out refuges, but also because economically and politically, the state of Florida does like to see these power plants stay open, and it keeps energy at a lower cost than initially. But we also don't want to open more power plants. We don't want to have more areas for these manatees to unnaturally go to. So keeping what we have, but limiting anything else. Additionally, for some of the detoxification stuff, they are not able to regulate heavy metals or organophosphates, all of the bad stuff that you can find in like weed killer and agricultural sprays. They can't regulate that out of their blood system. It builds up to like neurological symptoms, so seizures, strokes, any type of shutdown of respiratory function. Regulating a coastal buffer system, so in certain areas closer to the shores, we do not use these agricultural sprays, and instead integrate some type of integrated pest management. So using, ladybugs and grasshoppers and mantises to sort of kill off these weeds that farmers don't want, but also keeping organophosphates out of the waterways and out of the soil.
Very interesting. So for our final question, what experience are you hoping to get out of the research conference, and how do you want to translate that going forward in your research for postgrad?
Yeah, a big thing for me for the conference was getting confidence in speaking for my, speaking about my stuff. Like I can write it all out on paper, but being able to present it, being able to talk about it, that was something that I really, really wanted. And using that, I plan on going to graduate school for veterinary sciences. So taking everything that I have learned from this conference, all of my research, and being able to have a broader perspective of the world will be really good for just helping me be more well-rounded for my future in both academics and personally.
Absolutely. That is awesome to hear. Thank you so much for talking with us about your topic and everything that you're doing, all this really cool research. It was great to have you.
Yeah, thank you guys.
Yes, thank you, Taylor, for joining us. We'll be back with more undergraduate research conference in just a few minutes.
We're going to come on over and just have a short presentation. All right, so everyone's moving. Alrighty, are we all here? First, again, I would like to congratulate all of you who did your presentations and posters today. This has been amazing. You did so much work to get here, and you should be proud. You've done some really great stuff here. It's so interesting. Now I would like to introduce our interim regional chancellor, Thomas Smith, who will speak for a few minutes.
Thank you, John, and this is one of my favorite events of the year. I mean, kudos to all of you for everything you've done. And just what's so exciting here, the vibe in the room, the energy that is palpable. That's all wonderful, but this is also a university at its best. What you have done with your project, this is about discovery, this is about curiosity, and we're so happy that we have the kind of, we're able to give you a structured way of doing this. But I would also say, just what you're doing here today. You are exposing your ideas to error. Someone may come along and say, I would tweak your methodology, and I would, your data don't line up the way you suggest. And that is a big part of it too. It's not just communicating your findings to the world, because what good discovery does any good if it's hidden under a rock, but rather that you're exposing your ideas to criticism. That's huge. And you may think, okay, I don't want to be criticized. This is how we progress as a society. By living in a free world where we can speak openly about the data in front of us and what we see before our eyes. And so for that, I would say congratulations to all of you. It's not just that this is a project you have to do for a class, but you are part of helping us be a free society that makes progress moving forward. That's how we're going to discover a cure for cancer. Not through a commissioner of truth, but rather through this kind of exercise that you're engaged in today. So with that, congratulations to you all. I know we have some awards to hand out, so I think I'm reading those. Okay. These are
kind of best of awards.
Best of awards. First, up is Martin Achard for the poster titled Microbial Community Differences Across Restored Natural and Replanted Mangrove Ecosystems. Martin? Next we have Inez Rosales for the poster And Inez's poster is called Effective Ocean Acidification on Shell Dissolution of the Pteropod Clio pimerata from the Gulf of Mexico. Congratulations, Inez. Next we have Anna Burns for The Faces of Seminoles, Osceola and Poetry of the Second Seminole War. That's extraordinary. Next we have Kennedy Tennant, Kiara Johnson, and Ty Sturkey. Titled The Overestimation of Minority Group Size. Congratulations to that team. Next we have Erica Lauer-Vos for Oxidative Stress Mitigation by the Pastia-associated bacteria. Congratulations, Erica. Next we have Irene Thompson, whose poster is called A Systematic Review of Empirical Studies Focused on Eating Disorders Among People Living with HIV. Next we have Spencer Holton with a poster titled Optomotor Response of Rheinatomea poison frogs, visual perception ability. Penultimate prize, Hannah Harden, for her poster examining the relationship between social media use and age-related cognitive issues. And our final award goes to Melissa James and Sophie Malecki for analysis of theobromine in different types of chocolate. Congratulations.
Maybe do 2 rows here, so we can get a photo of all the winners here. Yeah, let's make 2 rows here. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we want you in the photo. Yeah, great. All right. All right, we'll both. Thank you.
So this concludes the presentation. If you go back to your posters, in the other room, the presentations will continue. I think there are 2 more to do over the conference, starting at 12:30. Again, thank you all for attending. Please make sure you have a sandwich. If you don't haven't had one, please take one with you. And again, thank you all for all the hard work that you did.
Bulls, welcome back to the Undergraduate Research Conference. Siri is back here with one more segment to talk with some amazing student researchers. One of them who we've already interviewed, Anna Burns. Congratulations, Ms. Anna Burns won an award today.
Thank you.
How are you feeling?
I am very, very, very overwhelmed and excited. I did not expect it at all. The chancellor, the assistant chancellor, what is it? Active chancellor, I guess. I was walking away, he goes, "Congrats, you look like you were surprised." I was actually, yes. I didn't expect it. There's so much incredible research going on here. I'm honored that I was given this award. It's incredible. It's amazing.
Absolutely. That is great to hear. And speaking of amazing research, we got an amazing researcher right sitting here with us, Audrey Everett. Hi, it's nice to see you.
Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah, so tell me, what is your research topic on?
Yeah, sure. So I did a climate-sensitive levee risk assessment using a levee system in Pennsylvania as my case study. So essentially what we're doing is looking at what our near future climate models, so within the next 30 years, and the flooding that's predicted from that, and how levees are going to withstand that. So currently throughout the U.S., most of our levees are about 70 years old on average. A lot of them were built back in the 1930s. And there's really no oversight or governing of these levees except through flood insurance policy. And flood insurance policy says you need to build it up to the 100-year flood standards to be accredited. However, those standards are kind of outdated for our current times and are going to be increasingly kind of irrelevant as we move into the effects of climate change. And so my research was looking at, okay, what's the difference between how do these accredited levee systems that supposedly should be able to withstand these 100-year floods, how are they actually going to hold up in the next few years? Yeah.
That is a really great and interesting topic. That is really cool. And tell me, how did you become interested in environmentally conscious urban design? How did this come to you?
Yeah, so I grew up in a military family, kind of always moving around the nation, and I just noticed a lot of patterns in unsustainable development, especially with car-centric infrastructure, and just noticing how a lot of our infrastructure design choices are kind of intermingled. And I just got really passionate about human-centered design and design that promotes walkability and that is more in sync with nature. And so that led me to looking at, okay, what are some other instances where we have infrastructure that is built in a way that kind of opposes that or is not really in sync with the environment or the ecology of the area, which kind of plays into levees, because a lot of these levees were kind of just built to address flooding, but they create issues down the river as that flooding goes into other communities, and so there's potential for looking at nature-based solutions. Also, the case study area that we did our flood projections on is a very unique place in Luzerne County, and they were able to take their towns on this river and come together and create a levee authority, which is super unique. Most of these communities don't have a way to do that, but part of the way that they are able to do that is because they have these more dense, walkable kind of downtown areas, and that collaboration was really interesting. They've turned their levee too into a multimodal trail. So that's kind of where that urban design also comes in there of, how that can go along with our infrastructure and make it better and make it, how do we take something that, is for survival, but then also give back to the environment, give back to the community, and make it usable.
Wow, that is an excellent topic. Great that you're delving into the type of research, and it's great to see a diversity of research, because I know Anna Burns was on a completely different topic. Are you able to refresh us on what your topic was?
Yeah, of course. I talked about representations of the Seminole warrior Osceola in poetry written by non-native people during the Second Seminole War, and just examining the stereotypes that come from the way he's portrayed, how it feeds into stereotypes, reinforces them, and eventually impacts perceptions of not just Osceola, but Seminoles in general and Native Americans as a whole.
Absolutely, that is really cool. See, Bulls, we got so many amazing student researchers here that decided to share their knowledge and their explorations. And tell me, how has this experience been for each of you?
For me, it's been really interesting. I actually, thankfully, through being involved in Marine Adventures Club last year and being an officer, I found out about research experiences for undergraduates funded by NSF, and so that I started my research through doing a REU at Penn State. And so that was really interesting to be out of Florida, but on the other end of that, it's been really cool to come back to Florida and take everything that I've learned in my research from Penn State and from looking at like inland systems and seeing how there's so much carryover to the levee systems here in Florida and our flood defense here on the coast. With some of my other research that I've done on seawalls and our coastal infrastructure. So really cool to see how everything is really connected. So even stuff in inland Pennsylvania can have relevancy here in coastal Florida.
Awesome. And you, Ms. Bryce, how are you?
I've never done a research conference before, and I love it here. I think this is absolutely fabulous. I love getting to walk around and seeing my friends and my peers work. I've learned about things that I didn't even know were topics of research. Like right next door to me, metaphorically speaking, is a project looking at bacteria in sand by turtle nesting areas. It's fantastic, by Nora Nunez. And so I'm like going over and I'm talking to her and I'm like, okay, what have you got? And they're like, what have you got? And so we trade information back and forth. It's a really cool little learning ecosystem here for these past 3 hours just about. It's fantastic. I love it here.
I'm so glad you guys got to present and kind of explore other findings. Thank you so much for speaking with us, and thank you both for tuning in to the Undergraduate Research Conference. This is Siri. Thank you.
Do an interview, then outro.
Hey Bulls, welcome back to Siri and our Undergraduate Research Conference today. Sitting with us is a very special guest, our new Interim Regional Chancellor, Thomas Smith. Welcome, Thomas.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
So how has your day been at the conference?
It's been great. This is one of my favorite events throughout the year, just the excitement, the vibe in the room, and just the fact that all of these students did research not knowing where the data would land. And that we capture in this event that kind of sense of discovery and excitement, curiosity. And so all of that's what research is about. And that's what a good university is about. And so for that's what I really love about this event.
Absolutely. That is so cool. And it's great to see the diversity of researchers here and all the topics that they're presenting on. What are some topics that may have stood out to you?
I confess, I came from another, you'll have to edit this, I came from another event and rushed right in and immediately came up to the podium. We gave an award for a project dealing with poetry. I saw bacterial studies. I saw just the wide range of student interests, the things that people are doing, the work our faculty are working on, what people can do in a classroom. It's as exciting and diverse as our university is.
Absolutely. There's such a vast myriad of different projects all at once happening at the conference. Is there anything specifically you're looking forward to for the upcoming undergraduate research conferences in years following?
We want this to be a really key part of what going to USFSP is all about, because we think this campus, given the relatively small class sizes, the ability that we have for faculty to work and kind of oversee these projects that students are working on, that's something we really want to lean into, both because of the excitement and the curiosity and all those things that come from research, but also because we're training the scientists of the future and the social scientists and the historians, and the more that we can have students make their own discoveries and then explain them to other people and explain the methods they used and explain where the data landed and what they make of it and kind of expose their discoveries to criticism. That is all part of a thriving university environment and experience, and that's what I really love about it.
Absolutely, and it's great to kind of see that all come to fruition here each year. What would you say has been most memorable for you as coming into this position and getting to see all these amazing people?
Yeah, I've been on the campus for, this is my 26th year at USFSP. I've never been to Florida in my life until I came to interview for the position here. In academia, you go where the jobs are. I could have landed anywhere, and I end up in this amazing city at this amazing campus that has really come a long way. We had no dormitories. Most of the buildings you now know were not here 26 years ago. And so just to see all of that happening, but especially to see the excitement of new students coming here, of the connections we have to the community, the internships we provide, just all of that. And so what I love most, I would say, is working with students, with faculty, with staff, with our community partners to try to hone a really crisp academic vision for the campus. That's what I love most, and that idea, because we can be so many things, and we are so many things, but what else, what's the future look like at USFSP? That gets me excited every single day.
Absolutely. The innovation and academic opportunity here on the St. Pete campus is invaluable. Thank you so much for chatting with us today, and thank you so much for speaking and presenting all of the things.
It was my pleasure, and thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Yes. Thank you. Have the best day.
Yeah, me too. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.
Yes.